Hi, I'm Alex. Welcome to my channel and to this practical mobility flow moment. I say moment because we're talking 5 to 10 minutes rather than a long practice, which is designed for post-run or post-walk when you've been out and about. So often we'll do a little bit of a warm-up, we'll lead into things, and then we'll do the thing, and that's great. Celebrating doing the thing and getting out there and being accountable is one of the biggest kind of joys, and we feel good about ourselves because we get that hit. But we don't always put enough time and energy and effort into the wind down of that afterwards. We can sometimes get into that habit of doing a few token stretches, thinking that we might do something longer on another day and then go grab coffee, grab breakfast, or do the thing, whatever the thing is. It is really important, given something like running in particular is quite high impact on the joints, is bringing your body into activation because it's a stress on the body. And also you're using your muscle groups and you don't want them to get really, really tight and then more prone to injury. So doing this will not only restore some balance back into the body because we start to bring about control of the breath, bring an element of rest, and by rest I don't mean lying on the floor, although you can do that afterwards if you want to, but also build that resilience so that we can continue the running and the walking for many years to come, and do so being less prone to injury because we're doing those cool downs. That's the background, so let's get started. I'm obviously indoors and on a mat right now, but you do not need to be. This is a standing practice, so it can be done outside, whether you are still at the park, still by the beach, whatever it might be. We might come low to the ground, but we're not going to be seated in any way. Back knee might come down, so you might want to bear that in mind if you've got anything big going on there. We are just going to start with a little bit of a shake out. So the body has just been through a little bit of stress, doing the thing that you love, and having a little bit of a shake is really good for the nervous system. So you might just swing the arms from side to side. This might be something you also do in your warm-up as well when you're kind of preparing the body, especially if you've got nervous energy, if it's an event or something like that. But there is benefit in doing sometimes similar things afterwards, so that you can kind of get really mindful in the body around how it feels pre and post run in terms of the depth and the flexibility and the difference between a warm and a cold body. And we're then going to transition onto the feet. So everything starts in the feet. They've just done a huge amount for us. So working into not just the ankle joints, but the calf muscles as well. And if you do suffer from things like shin splints, these kind of movements you might find quite helpful. But we're just going to raise ourselves up onto the balls of the feet and then slowly lower down. I'm going to do that 2 more times. So lift, and that's 2, lift, and 1. And then we're going to do the same with the toes. So even though we're in trainers, we can lift the toes and release them back down. Lift and release, and 1. So we start in the feet because we're also allowing our breath rhythm to slow down. We're going to incorporate those 2 movements as well. So lift, come down, lift the toes. So that's 3, 2, and 1. And then you can just rotate the ankles a couple of times one way, a couple of times the other way. As part of doing this, I like to include the spine in everything. It's really, really beneficial and integral to everything that we do. I'm going to draw the arms up, and then we're going to take the elbows out as we draw the chest forward and lift the gaze. So I'll take this to the side so you can see we get a mild amount of extension in the back line of the body. Maybe take a breath in to take the arms up, and exhale, draw them down and back. So any kind of tension felt in the body in that upper back line and maybe the chest where the breath rhythm changes, this is going to be beneficial. Just going to do 3 more. 2, and 1. And then just take the arms down to the side, roll the shoulders. So from here, feet about hip distance, we're just going to drop the chin and roll all the way down. So we're bringing the spine into flexion. Soften the knees as much as you need. Bear in mind, it might be quite warm after your activity of choice today. So we're looking to bring in a stretch sensation, but we don't want it to be overly intense. And relax the chest, relax the neck, and then just have a little shake about here. Maybe sway from side to side, maybe just play with extending the legs a little bit so that you can really kind of tune in to the amount of stress that you might feel in your body, or the amount of openness. Now it's warm, especially if this was, also part of your warm-up. And take a breath in here and just bend the knees a little bit. And then as you draw up with that exhale, you can lift the belly, extend long through the spine, lift the gaze, and straighten the legs any amount. They don't have to be super straight though. And release back down. We're going to do that 2 more times. So soften on the inhale. Extend and wave long. Working into the hamstrings, into the shoulders, into the spine. And release. Now we're going to combine 2 movements. So we're going to do that again. So softening a little bit as we take a breath in. And then as we come up this time, we're going to high five the sky. So arms come out behind us, legs lengthen. And then softening the knees, sending the hips back. We're going to draw into the strength position. So we're going to try and avoid dropping the knees together. And we're going to remain core activated. And we're going to work on strengthening of the low back and of the ankles. So our stretch sequences can still incorporate a little bit of strength to kind of work with those groups that have just had a huge amount of stress placed on them. So we're going to do that again. Soften, extend long through the spine, high five the sky, and then soften again as you come around into that kind of strength moment. So extend and stretch, and then soften to find and build strength. Really hugging into center here so that we're not dipping into that low back. We're just going to do 2 more. And again, you can pick the amount that you do, whether it's 3 or whether it's 6, whatever number works for you. We all have a favorite. And then you're just going to release it back down into this forward fold. Again, bringing the spine into flexion. And you're going to heel toe the feet a little bit wider, so slightly wider than hip distance. This is going to allow us to bring the fingertips down and come down into a moving yoga squat. So I'm going to turn to face you for a moment. So we're going to keep it moving this way. So fingertips might be down. That gives you that element of balance, but you might find that you pick up one hand as you rotate. Or if you feel really comfortable, you can keep the hands maybe on the knees and try it that way. And you might just drop one knee down towards the floor, other side, and just play with the practical elements of that. Or you might just continue to move. The yoga squat, any kind of squat, even with the movement, is really good for just kind of bringing suppleness and flexibility into the body, especially when warm. But it's also, again, can be good for activation, can be good for the low back, which can take a lot of stress during running, and also the ankles. So here I'm now going to get you to bring the spine into it. So as you twist or turn that knee out, you're going to take one arm way back behind you. You might choose to look over the shoulder as well. And then you're going to take it the other way. So we're bringing that mid-back and thoracic spine into the mix. And you might choose to hold it there as well. Take a breath. Just blow that breath out. We're going to assist ourselves into coming into a more natural breath rhythm, but also, as I mentioned before, bringing the body into a little bit less activation. We're moving and we're stretching, but we're balancing out the nervous system, because the big thing, the fun thing, the run, the achievement, or the big walk even, is done. And now we're applying a little bit of love back into the body so that we don't store that stress up for next time. And then you can bring yourself back up, lengthen out the legs, bring the feet back to about hip distance, maybe take that extension through the spine and have a little shake out here. We're going to plant the fingertips down and we're going to step one foot back and drop the back knee down when we arrive. So if you reframe that front foot, keeping the back toe tucked, we're just going to bring in a little bit of movement back and forwards. And then coming forwards this time, lift, lengthen through the spine, come up into this low lunge. We're going to draw the arms up and just draw the chest forwards a little bit. So a small amount of extension for the spine. Just be mindful the hip doesn't turn off. We want to just engage the glutes so that our pelvis remains a little bit more neutral. And then from here, keeping that back toe tucked, extend through that front leg, flex the foot. Don't quite sit down on the back of the heel. So we're going to move into those shapes. So be mindful of your alignment. Draw back, lengthen, doesn't have to be straight. And just work with your breath and the rhythm of the movement. Our body can, albeit when it's different, can really enjoy the movement more so than the active stretch, which is where we're going to go next. So we want to work into the hamstring. So we're going to flex the foot to get the most out of that. We might sit back onto that heel, which means there's a lot going on in the foot. You can, of course, untuck and come onto the top of the foot. So stretching through the front of the ankle, but slightly deeper. So I'm going to show you that. And again, you don't need to have a super straight leg, but my preference is to keep the toes tucked, lengthen through the spine. And now we're going to take a few breaths here. Again, extending that exhale a little bit. And then draw forwards. A little bit of movement so that your body knows what's coming. And then you're going to lift the back knee, soften and step it forwards. Again, come up high, five the sky. Find that small strength moment and then release all the way back down. Step the opposite foot back, drop the back knee. Create a little bit of movement, make sure you're comfortable. Find length through the spine and then draw up into this low lunge. Maybe take some extension depending on what feels comfortable. Check in with the pelvis, engaging the glutes so you're not dipping off to one side, or at least not without any kind of control. So we're thinking about the control of the movement. And then we're going to draw back, so lengthen out through the leg, flexing the foot. If you want to back it off, just point the toe a little bit or lift the knee. And again, work with the breath to move between those two movements, that range of motion. Just explore what you've got. And then again, we're going to come into a little bit of stillness here. Extending the exhale, balancing out the breath. It's also a really good way when you're extending the exhale of just noticing how long you're in the hold for. Sometimes our long holds aren't so long because they can be quite uncomfortable. Not painful, just uncomfortable. and then draw forwards. Again, a little bit of movement here. You can either have the hands flat or just to create a bit of space up on fingertips like me. Draw that back knee up, soften, and then step it forwards. Take a breath in, high five the sky, lengthen. And last time in that, take the arms up and just blow the air out as you do. So lengthen all the way through the body. And just to finish it off, one last one. And there you go. You are ready to go grab that drink, have breakfast, whatever it might be. Do your next thing, knowing that you have given a little bit back to your body, brought yourself out of activation, looked after your muscles, ready for your next run or walk or challenge. Take care, and I will see you soon.